Okay. All right. So we're going to be calling the meeting to order and we're going to begin recording.
Recording in progress.
Okay. So at 10 o'clock, we're calling to order the Tuesday, May 25th Board of Commissioners meeting, and we will begin with the Pledge of Allegiance. Would you please rise? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Justice for all.
Okay. Thank you all very much. At this time, we will accept public comment on items not appearing on our agenda. If there's any public comment at this time, feel free to unmute yourself and we will provide 5 minutes for you to comment on anything that does not appear on the agenda. Is there any public comment at this time? Okay, we're hearing none. We will accept public comment for each item as it's under consideration. All right, we're going to move into our minutes from our May 11th meeting from 2 weeks ago. Is there a motion to approve those minutes?
Motion to approve the May 11th Board of Commissioners meeting minutes.
Second.
It has been moved and seconded to approve the minutes. Any final discussion on the minutes? Hearing and seeing none, all in favor of approving the minutes, do so by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
The motion is carried and our minutes are approved. Okay, we're going to move into our COVID-19 planning and response section, and we'll turn it over to Administrator Margaret Gray to lead the conversation from here. Good morning, Margaret.
Morning, everyone. Thanks very much. As you will recall, in early May, the Board of Commissioners took action bringing back our employees to our county offices from a full remote status, which we had been working under for 5 months, to a rotational status through May 28th, with the understanding that today that status would be reconsidered. And as you know, each time we talk about this particular item, we talk about metrics and the metrics that we look at to determine what makes the most sense. The metrics including the positivity rate of COVID-19 in our community, the number of hospitalizations, and the impact on our own workforce. Over the last several weeks, we've seen the numbers of COVID-19 cases community-wide and among our own workforce decline. Hospitalizations have declined. And of course, at the same time, we're seeing more and more people being able to take advantage of being vaccinated. So at this point, I think the recommendation on the table is to consider staying in rotational status for a few more weeks, giving people an opportunity to get vaccinated with a return to office on Tuesday, July the 5th. By naming July the 5th a few weeks out, that gives us an opportunity for our offices and our department heads to work with staff to make sure everybody feels comfortable that we're doing as much distancing as possible, and for employees to make arrangements should they have concerns at home around childcare or elder care or something along those lines. So I'll throw it open for conversation, but the proposal is return to office on Tuesday, July the 5th.
Okay, thank you very much, Margaret. The one thing I would add in as well is I think for many of our in-person meetings that we typically hold, that July 6th, that first Tuesday would probably be an ideal date to then begin meeting in person. So I'll put that out there as part of the discussion. I think that was sort of what your thinking was, but just to state that as well, I think that would be great for us to return to that. Again, put any protocols in place that we might need to, but we would then be meeting in person, room 146, for our commissioner meetings, salary board meetings, etc. Just a note as well, I think that one of the things that we have done and we're about to launch in the next few days or a week or so would be a return to office policy, and what that would look like and what that would encompass. But I think giving latitude to some of our elected officials and department heads that may see that we are able to keep some of our employees working from home or based maybe 60% of the time at home, 40% at a physical office. So I think that 5 weeks of lead time will help us to establish in each circumstance that we have for our different departments and agencies, the ability to make those kind of decisions. But I think that would be good, again, to give us a little bit of runway. But I think that from my perspective, that date sounds good. But again, we can have more discussion about that tonight or this morning.
So, yeah, I'm in rough agreement. I think the people with children who maybe their childcare isn't up and running yet, or people who are caring for elderly relatives are going to need a little bit of time to make other arrangements. Also, since we have been able to operate remotely fairly successfully here for 5 months, I think that we need to come up with some new policies and procedures that would allow department heads and elected officials, as much as we can, dialogue with elected officials about this, some latitude on employees needing to be in the office 5 days a week. I think now we need some flexibility on that. We've proven for 5 months we can operate that way. I mean, as long as the work gets done, I think that's the most important part. But would definitely like to hear Steve's views on the matter.
I guess my only question is, are we talking about, well, at what point, I guess I'll cut right to the chase. At what point do we actually open up the building for people to come and go as they so choose?
So there are 3 parts to this. One is the return to office. The second is return to meetings in person in public. And the third is when to open the doors to the building. So one possibility is to bring everybody back on Tuesday, July 5th, start the meetings in person, give us a couple of weeks to get settled in, and open the doors to the public on August the 1st. That's one possibility.
I think that's way too late. That's way too late. I think we need to open the building up before that. I think there's a lot of folks that find it very inconvenient to do business the way we're doing it. So if there are people actually in the office, I believe that we should be able to go back to work as normal.
I would probably put maybe a week, Steve, Commissioner Dersham. So I would say if we come back on the 5th, give our staff just a week to adjust, and then have on the 12th, July 12th would be a week basically just to get settled in and to go from that perspective. I think that might make things a little bit smoother. I know that some offices, some other municipal governments have been again putting in CDC the CDC guidance and are opening their doors sooner. But I think with our county government, we have many more departments, and I think it just makes sense for us to just take that time to do so. But if we wanted to bump up the time, where on July 5th we would have all the citizens could come back into the buildings, and maybe June 28th, that would allow for our return to office. I could also work with that. I just think the big thing would be just to give our staff just a little bit of adjustment time coming back in.
That was the reason for a subsequent linear type of arrangement. So I think even a week would be helpful, just to everybody get settled in, set back up. Many people have not been at their computers in the building for some time. The other question that will be asked is, do members of the public, do we extend the CDC guidance to them as well? If they've been vaccinated, no masking. So we would not be requiring any of the public to wear a mask coming into our building. So we should be clear about that.
Yeah, and also the CDC guidance will most likely change between now and then, most likely, as we see vaccination numbers move
Right.
forward, as the Pennsylvania Department of Health continues to adjust their guidance as well. So it's going to change from now until then, I think. But from my standpoint, Margaret, it would be where we would be, whatever the CDC is suggesting and as guidance, we would want to implement, I think.
I would agree.
All right, so it looks like we're discussing a return to office for county staff on Monday, June 28th. And then even though Monday the 5th is sort of a business day, I think, isn't that when we're observing the 4th of July for county offices?
It's Tuesday, July the 5th that we would return.
Double check your
Oh,
calendar,
excuse me,
Margaret.
Excuse me, Tuesday, July 6th.
Next. Yeah,
Tuesday, July 6th.
I
Yes,
kept
yes,
thinking,
yes.
am I hearing her wrong or?
No, I'm saying it
Okay.
incorrectly. It's Tuesday, July the 6th. I knew it was the day after the holiday. So Tuesday, July 6th,
All right, and we're
because we are
talking,
we're closed on the 5th.
all right, and we're talking about policy that would give department heads some flexibility in terms of staff needing to come back to the office 5 days a week. Look at the possibility of having at least some county employees operate remotely at least some of the time, and encouraging row officers to do the same. Obviously, we can't make any requirements there. Do you want that in the motion as well?
We are working and almost finished with a work from home policy that we will be presenting to you here very shortly. John has been heading that up and has solicited comments and clarifications from a lot of different department heads. So we're almost finished with that, and we'll be rolling that out here in probably a week or 10 days. So I don't think that needs necessarily to be a part of the motion.
All right, so I will make the motion for Center County government staff who are not currently working in office to return to office on Monday, June 28th, to be followed by an opening of county offices to the public on Tuesday, July 6th, following whatever the CDC guidance is at the time.
Just a point of
I will second
clarification.
that.
All right, and now for,
Yeah, so the motion has been moved and seconded. Did you have to clarify something, Margaret?
Yes, the proposal was for employees to return on Tuesday, July the 6th, not the June 28th. If you want to move it up a week, that's
Yeah.
okay, but,
Yeah, we would be bumping it up. Yep.
okay.
Yep.
All right.
yeah, we'll bump it up.
Okay. All right. So we're bumping it up essentially from the 6th of Tuesday the 6th, and that would be the date that we would have the public coming back in, following the guidance of the CDC. Okay, fantastic. Any other discussion on that? Any other comments?
No.
Okay, fantastic. Okay. We'll take the vote. All those in favor of this motion do so by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Same sign. The motion is carried. Okay, great. Thank you, Margaret.
There will be, we will need to consult with the president judge just to make sure that this is in step with what she's hearing from the Supreme Court in terms of the buildings and so forth. So that would be the only clarification I would add to that. We will check with her
Okay, thank
about
you.
the court, about the courthouse.
Okay, thank you. Okay, all
I
right.
have
So
one other,
please, yes.
item related to county protocols, and that is, we were requesting for many months now that employees travel separately, except under security situations. And so I think at this point, maybe in alignment with these same dates, we would be allowing employees to travel in cars together as they have in the past. Many times caseworkers need to travel together and others. So I think we need to specifically make some reference to that protocol that we would be removing it.
I think that's fine. I don't think there's any issue with that. Are we all in consensus with that?
Everything's
Okay.
good.
Sure. Do we need an amendment or just consensus?
No, I think if we're all on the same page, we're good. Yeah, I don't think a motion would be
Okay.
needed. Yeah.
Okay, I didn't want to just assume on that one. I think it's important that we specifically let our workforce know that in fact that is lifted at this point.
Okay. Okay, super. Thank you. So that would be effective today, or you're saying that we're going to be doing that part of the 28th?
Why don't we make it in alignment with June 28th, and then everything will be at the same same time.
Okay, sounds good. Thank you, Margaret.
I would, well,
Oh,
my only
please.
conversation with that would be, if in the case of an extreme situation where we need to provide that, or we need to break that rule between now and then, I would make provision for that exception. In other words, a CYS worker needs help.
Oh,
you
of
know,
course.
let's give them the ability to do what they need to do to operate. But as a standard course of business, I would agree.
And I think that's currently in the guidance we've given to staff, is if there is an extreme, or if there's a circumstance where it's safety, they can do that.
That's correct.
Okay.
Yes, yes. Okay, all right. So we will also roll that into June 28th as well. Okay, thank you, Margaret. Any other actions we would need to take regarding the office protocols?
Not today.
Okay, all right, thank you. Okay. So we're going to then head into the American Rescue Plan portion of the COVID-19 planning and response, and we'll start with Margaret with the vaccine providers.
Okay, before I jump into that, I thought it might be helpful just to restate a little bit of the context around the American Rescue Plan. As most people are aware, earlier this year, the United States Congress and the President signed the American Rescue Plan Act, under which establishes a segment of funding entitled the Coronavirus State and Local Fiscal Recovery Fund, which is for counties. And Centre County in particular will be receiving in excess of $31 million. All of our paperwork and applications have been submitted to the United States Department of the Treasury, and we anticipate receipt of half of these funds any moment. In fact, maybe even before this meeting is finished today, we'll be seeing that arrive here. The guidance for the allowable use of this money was issued by the United States Treasury on May the 10th. And unlike the county relief block grant, which gave us just a very narrow period of time for the Board of Commissioners to allocate those funds, this particular program is a much longer runway. Our first submittal of an interim report is due on August 31st of this year. However, the actual incurring of funds and obligation of funds is not until December 31st of 2024, with funds being all expended to cover the obligations by December of 2026. So there is a longer runway in contrast to the county relief block grant. The fund, the Fiscal Recovery Fund, was established to help fund and turn the tide on the pandemic and help to address the economic fallout and lay the foundation for a strong and equitable recovery. Those are words from the Treasury Department. And to do that, they established 5 primary ways that counties could look to invest the funds in their communities. The 5 include supporting public health response, addressing negative economic impacts, replacing public sector revenue loss, paying premiums for essential workers, and looking at water, sewer, and broadband infrastructure. Out of the gate, the 2 areas that the board has already started to discuss are payments to vaccine providers and to our tourism organizations. And under the vaccine providers, the proposal that we're putting together right now is a way to design a formula that would provide funding to the entities in Centre County that have been able to provide vaccination clinics over the last several months. We will be looking to the Department of Health to make sure that we have all of those providers and also the number of vaccines that they have been able to give our citizens, our Centre County citizens, and come back to you with a proposal for an allocation that will go out to them to be of assistance, because many of them, while they did receive the vaccine, had to incur their own administrative costs to actually provide those clinics. The second area is around tourism, and I'm going to ask if Commissioner Higgins might want to speak a little bit about that. He's been working on some possible proposals around tourism, and so I'll turn it over to Commissioner Higgins so that he can outline what that might look like.
Sure, Margaret, thanks. I've been working closely with the Happy Valley Adventure Bureau, whose board I serve on, and I've been spending the last couple months personally visiting most of our hotels and all of our local restaurants in major commercial districts, sometimes as many as 4 times. That industry has been seriously affected by the pandemic. There are numerous paragraphs in the interim final rules for the American Rescue Plan that specifically address assistance to tourism and hospitality. So I would like us to propose a grant, possibly a prototype at this point, but with maybe some additional support later, for the Happy Valley Adventure Bureau to promote tourism in Center County. Now, obviously, they're going to have to finish the program. They'll probably need to make another presentation to us in another week or two with some more details. So it's not going to kick off here in May, but obviously the sooner we start, the sooner they can begin promoting people visiting Center County, because especially without Arts Festival this year, which is a wonderful event for so many reasons, but especially for our hospitality, restaurant, tourism groups, that's always a fabulous week for them, and it's just not going to happen. So do we need to actually have me propose a motion for the tourism support? All right, I'm seeing some nodding from Commissioner Pike. So based on research I've done with the American Rescue Plan, it appears that grants of under $50,000 are not going to require a whole lot of paperwork from the county's standpoint. So what I'd like to propose in a motion is a $49,000 grant to the Happy Valley Adventure Bureau to promote tourism throughout Center County, starting in June, with the possibility of additional grants later, depending on the success of the program.
I will second that.
Okay, we have a motion and a second, and we will discuss a little bit further. So I certainly, I know there's paperwork requirements, or as we look at the American Rescue Plan, there may be additional, again, reporting requirements, but I think I would certainly be open to contributing more as we see how the effectiveness and the need as well. And we certainly want to get folks back here, visiting here, now that we've seen, again, cases decline, vaccinations increase. So I think it's a great start, but certainly welcome to providing additional funds. So thank you, Commissioner Higgins. You serve as our representative on the Happy Valley Adventure Bureau, and I know that you've been really strongly encouraging us to do this. So I think it's a welcome motion, and it'll be the vaccination providers will get some funds, and also our tourism. So we're sort of doing some major things in terms of getting some money out there initially. So this is good stuff. But if there's any additional questions from the board, we can have that discussion, and there may be some folks from the community who might want to add their 2 cents as well. Okay. Anything else from the board, Commissioner Higgins or Dersham?
I'll just mention briefly that before the pandemic, the Happy Valley Adventure Bureau had some great internet promotions that were bringing in as much as 15 times as much actual hotel revenue as they were spending on ads. So they've been doing a great job with the concept.
Yeah, I think we need to get them back up and running and get them in a healthy place. They've been compromised for so long. I think we need to do everything we can to give them the resources to be successful, so they can continue to operate.
Okay, fantastic. Yeah, I would suggest that 49,000 is a phase 1, and if they want to come behind with a phase 2, so as soon as they see that first phase being beneficial, we could kick in phase 2 and get the funds to them, sooner rather than later. But no, I think this is a fantastic start.
I should also mention the People's Choice Arts Festival too. So it's the big weekend wasn't just Arts Fest; it was People's Choice as well. Huge,
And Phil,
huge
and
combo. combo of events.
And Heritage Days, absolutely, Heritage Days as well in
too.
Phillipsburg. Yeah, yeah.
But the other thing that I would say is that this is more for, you know, for doing promotion, but I think at some point we may have to help them with administrative funds until we get the tourism rolling again and they start receiving income from the hotels.
Yeah, good point.
Absolutely. Okay, so we will certainly open it up to any comments from the public. I know we have some folks from the Happy Valley Adventure Bureau with us today, seeing Leslie Kistner, Ed Stoddard. I'm not sure if I think we saw somebody else join from the Happy Valley Adventure Bureau, but didn't know if there's any feedback or thoughts you wanted to provide to us today. Okay. Okay. All right. Well, we look forward to working with you as we go forward into the next few weeks. Again, think about this as a phase one, but certainly see more funds coming in the future. So we have the motion on the table for $49,000 direct grant to the Happy Valley Adventure Bureau for tourism from the American Rescue Plan. And we have that as a motion. It's been seconded. We'll take the vote then. All those in favor of this motion do so by saying aye.
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 Aye. The motion is carried. Okay. All right. Fantastic. Okay. And then just jumping back to the vaccine providers, Margaret, you'll loop back with them and get some more information from the Department of Health, and we could consider a formula allocation in the future. Is that where we left it? Okay.
Yes, if the board is supportive of that approach, to look at the number of vaccines they've given and to across all of our the providers who have offered clinics, I think that would be the distinction. I'll come back with those numbers.
Absolutely. We're in agreement with that?
Yeah, that sounds great. The clinics have been especially helpful.
Yeah, and I also want to say thank you, Margaret, for reaching out and working with the Pennsylvania Department of Health on COVID testing, particularly as we enter the vacation season where people are going to need to be tested to travel, particularly overseas. It's going to be extremely important. I'm really glad that you are working with the Department of Health to continue those programs.
Thank you very much. They've been a great partner.
Okay, fantastic. So we'll look forward to more discussion on the vaccine provider allocations. Anything else on the American Rescue Plan before we go into our contracts section? Okay, all right, good discussion, and we'll certainly be revisiting this a lot in the future. But we'll turn it over now to our Human Services Administrator, Natalie Corman, for some Human Services items. Hi, Natalie, good morning.
Good morning. So I have one contract before the board today. This is the annual plan between the county and our Odyssey software. And it's specific to the Microsoft Dynamics software that we use. It's estimated to be about $23,000. And this will be July 1, 2021 to June 30th, 2024. And this is fiscal software that we use. It allows the work and billing that we do in our department, as well as working with Sam Inc., who assists us in our fiscal, as well as the county departments to do it. And so this upgrade is changing the platform of it, about hosting it. It'll get us some additional upgrades quicker. Chad Joyce, our IT director, was a part of these discussions, so he was able to give impact and to provide us, support for software contract. And so this is a 3-year contract that we have before you today.
Okay, thank you, Natalie. Any questions or comments on this item? Okay, hearing none, is there a motion?
Motion to add the renewal with Odyssey software to next week's consent agenda.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. All those in favor do so by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
The motion is carried. Okay, thank you, Natalie.
Thank you.
For our transportation item, we will go to our Director of Transportation, Dave Lomison, for this item. Good morning, Dave.
Good morning, all. Thank you for having me. I come before the board asking the board to consider the acceptance of our final allocation for the medical assistance transportation program that we provided in fiscal year 2019-2020. This is a normal procedure that's a little bit lags behind for their final approval, just to clear the books for that year. The amount that we would be approving would be $562,424 for that period. That is down a little bit from the previous year. Obviously, pandemic related took a little bit of a toll on it, but I'm proud to say that we're climbing back up in that respect, and those numbers are certainly increasing daily for the use of medical assistance. But being that the Center County is a provider of medical assistance transportation, that is why we bring this to you today. Thank you.
Okay, Dave, thank you very much. Any comments or feedback on the MATP final allocation? Okay, we're seeing none. Is there a motion to approve?
Motion to approve the MATP final allocation.
Second.
It has been moved and seconded. Any final discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
The motion is carried. Dave, thank you very much.
Thank you all very much.
Okay, for our next item, we're going to welcome in Krista Davis to discuss this item for property and casualty insurance. Good morning,
Good
Krista.
morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Morning. So with all of our county functions, we do need several insurance policies in place that will protect our employees and our visitors. But today I'm discussing our largest, most broad insurance policy. It is the one that covers our general liability, our property, auto, equipment breakdown, cyber and privacy protection. And it's our most expensive, but it runs for an annual period, and it's coming due on June 1st. This is offered through our carrier, which is a risk pool. It's the Pennsylvania County's risk pool. And as you could tell by the name, it is an entity that serves all Pennsylvania counties. It's offered to all Pennsylvania counties, but it insures 52 of our 67 counties. So we've enjoyed being a member. We've received a good rate from them this year. It was a hard insurance market this year, so we're just looking at a minimal 3.6% increase over last year, which we are happy and relieved that it wasn't more. So in summary, I'd like to seek your consideration in approving the full annual premium of $399,487 for the policy period running 6/1/2021 to 6/1/2022.
Okay, thank you very much, Krista. Any questions on our renewal? Okay, we're seeing and hearing none. Is there a motion to add it to next week's consent agenda?
Motion to add the insurance renewal with P Corp to next week's consent agenda.
Second.
It has been moved and seconded. Any final discussion? Hearing and seeing none, all in favor say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
The motion is carried. Thank you, Krista.
Thank you.
Moving into our grants section, we're going to be discussing and looking for a motion to approve the subrecipient agreement between Center County and the Conservation District. And we are going to turn this over to Director of the Conservation District for Center County, Jim Kozlow. Good morning, Jim.
Good morning, everyone. I'm asking the commissioners this morning to consider a cooperation agreement between Center County and the Center County Conservation District. Just a little bit of background, Center County has already received grant funds through the Pennsylvania Department of Environmental Protection under its Chesapeake Bay program in the amount of $400,000. This grant is intended to assist with certain water quality projects throughout Center County to achieve specified nutrient and sediment reduction goals established as part of the Phase 3 Watershed Implementation Plan, known as the WIP. This is in cooperation with private landowners. With the WIP program, we're now in the implementation phase, and the Conservation District is also in receipt of other grant funding, specifically the Conservation Excellent Grant Program through the State Conservation Commission. And some of these projects will be funded by both grant sources, the county Chesapeake Bay grant and the CEG grant. So it is our desire to have singular implementation for these projects that have are being funded by both sources. So we're asking for the commissioners to consider this agreement.
Jim, thank you very much. And we do have our solicitor, Betsy Dupuy, with us as well to add any context to this agreement. So Betsy, we'll turn it over to you.
Yeah, thanks, Mike, and thanks, Jim. I think that was a good background. We had a meeting with the Conservation District, Margaret and myself, and actually the planning office to talk through this, and confirmed that having the Conservation District handle the administration and take on this responsibility, much the way we've done with some other cooperation agreements, including most recently the Wildlife for Everyone activities. But Jim's group is already set up to do all the bidding. In fact, has already been starting through that. And since this is a unique situation where projects have not only this grant that the county has, the grant that the Conservation District has, but also private landowner money, it seemed to be prudent to set this up and put the district in charge of administering the funds, handling the grant, and making them responsible, you know, on behalf of the county to follow through on those terms. We've done this before. This is nothing new. So I think it makes a lot of sense to make that work. And I appreciate the district taking on that responsibility, and then, you know, the county staff spending the time to get comfortable with the process so that we're all on the same page.
Okay, thank you very much, Betsy. And we know that Margaret, our administrator, has been a part of the conversation. So please, Margaret.
Yes, I think this is a great move forward. It really makes the process much more efficient and effective. And I also want to mention that our controller participated in our meeting as well, just to make sure from the controller's office perspective that this was workable. And we have a lot of reporting that we have to do to different departments. And so the controller was also involved. But this is a great way to work together on something that could have been a administratively difficult problem. So thank you, everyone.
Okay, thank you, Margaret. So with that, we will look for a motion and then discuss this further if need be. But will there be a motion to approve the subrecipient agreement?
Motion to approve the subrecipient agreement between the County of Center and the Conservation District for administration of the countywide action plan.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. Any final discussion on this item? Okay, hearing none, all in favor of approving, do so by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
The motion is carried. Okay, thank you all very much. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right, we will now look for a motion to approve today's consent agenda. Is there a motion to approve?
Motion to approve today's consent agenda.
Second.
It has been moved and seconded. All those in favor do so by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
The motion is carried. Consent agenda is approved. We have one letter of support today, and this is for an application submitted by Penn State University on behalf of the Happy Valley Launchbox Invent Penn State for community project funding. And Margaret, if there's any other context you'd like to provide to this, we would be happy to hear it now.
The letter of support would be submitted to Senator Casey. And as you say, it is really to support funding for the Happy Valley Launchbox program, in particular, some critical equipment that they need as part of their Invent Penn State program.
Okay, thank you, Margaret. Would there be a motion to approve the letter of support?
Motion to approve the letter of support for Penn State University.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Any final discussion on this item? Hearing none, all in favor say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
The motion is carried. Thank you, Margaret. And we will turn it over to you for an administrator's report.
No report today.
Okay, all right. Okay, all right. We'll head into our check run and we'll turn it over to Commissioner Higgins.
Thanks, Mike. We have a much smaller than usual check run today in the amount of $442,676.05. The check of the week, it's actually a series of checks, is to Center for Community Resources covering expenses for the mental health walk-in assessment service, totaling, get this here, exactly $6,080. And just want to remind everyone that if you are experiencing a mental health crisis and you're able to get to 2100 East College Avenue, Suite A, which is kind of in between the bypass and the mall, they're happy to assist you there with whatever they can do to help reduce the crisis a bit. So I'd like to thank the staff that works there 24/7 for all they do for the residents of Center County. And I will make the motion to approve the check run dated May, I think, let me go backwards here. May 21st.
Second.
It has been moved and seconded to approve the check run. Any final discussion on the check run? Hearing none, all in favor say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
The check run is approved. Okay, thank you, Commissioner Higgins. We are going to move into a voter registration report and turn it over to Commissioner Dershowitz.
Okay, I do not have a voter registration report. We're still doing the final tallies from the election last week. I just want to note that we are down to completing the count, save for 2 outstanding overseas ballots that we may or may not receive by this afternoon's deadline. I just want to say that what they call a 2% count has been complete, but that 2% count actually this year we did it in excess of 10%. So we went through a process of 7 precincts, and all 7 precincts came up with accurate data. So I just want to say thank you to my fellow board members for allowing that extra count to occur. And I think within the next, probably by 5 o'clock today, we'll have the unofficial tally for the election on the 18th.
Absolutely. Sounds good, Commissioner. And that, as you mentioned, that count we pulled a precinct from every school district. Since every school district had a, school board race on it, we figured that would be a good way to do it. But yeah, we've well in excess of what we typically do. So absolutely. Yep. All went well. All right. Okay. Well, we will look forward to hearing a voter registration report in the near term as we conclude this primary election. We do want to note, as we have before, that Monday, May 31st, Center County government offices will be closed in observance of Memorial Day. Any executive sessions to report, Margaret?
No executive sessions to report today.
Okay, thank you. We have the balance of our meeting schedule below. We will then look for any questions from the press before we look to adjourn. Any questions from members of the press who have joined us this morning? Okay, seeing no questions from the press, we will look for a motion to adjourn at 10:43.
Motion to adjourn at 10:44.
Second.
It has been moved and seconded. All those in favor of adjourning, do so by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
We are adjourned. Thank you all. Have a great day.
Thank you.